Okay, so have you heard this one about this guy who thought he was buying his dream car?
I haven't, no.
Well, let me tell you, it's a real doozy. So he finds this rare luxury car online, right? And it seems like a great deal.
Oh no, this sounds familiar.
Yeah, so he wires the money. Everything seems legit at first. There's a fancy website, social media post, even a celebrity endorsement.
Wow, really a celebrity endorsement.
Yeah, pretty big name, actually. But then the GPS tracker they give him goes totally silent.
Oh no, so the car's just gone?
Poof, vanished into thin air. It's like the car never even existed.
So what happened? I mean, was it a scam?
That's what we're going to dive into today, how these scams work, how to spot the red flags, and most importantly, how to protect yourself when buying a high-end vehicle online.
I mean, buying a car is already stressful enough. You definitely don't need the added worry of getting scammed.
Exactly. So let's start by breaking down what happened. In this case, the guy finds this car online at a dealership that seems totally legit, a nice website, positive reviews, the whole nine yards.
Yeah, it sounds like they set up a pretty convincing front.
Yeah, and he gets all excited about this rare car. So he starts picturing himself cruising around town, and I guess that excitement kind of clouded his judgment.
It's easy to get caught up in the emotion, especially with a big purchase like that. You've been dreaming about this car, you finally find it. You just want to make it happen.
Right, and the scammers prey on that. They know you're going to be so focused on getting the car that you might miss some warning signs.
So, did the buyer ignore any red flags?
Well, initially, he brushed off the lack of communication as just a shipping delay. I mean, it happens, right? But when things went completely silent, that's when the panic set in.
Yeah, that's never a good sign. And what about the GPS tracker? I mean, how could they fake that?
That's the really crazy part. It showed absolutely no movement, which leads us to believe the car may have never even existed in the first place.
Wow, so they were selling a ghost car.
It's possible there's this whole category of scams built around these ghost cars. They advertise a red or limited edition model, jack up the price, create a sense of urgency, but the car is just a figment of their imagination.
That's insane. So, red flag number one, if a deal sounds too good to be true, especially for a rare or unique car, it probably is.
Exactly, but it's not always that easy to tell. This dealership had a professional-looking website, tons of positive reviews, even that celebrity shout-out, like I said.
Right, but that's the thing nowadays. Anyone can create a slick website, buy fake reviews, even hack into social media accounts to make themselves look credible.
So how can you actually verify if a dealership is legitimate?
Don't just rely on what you see on their website. You got to do some digging, go beyond the surface.
So where do you start?
Well, the Better Business Bureau is a good place to start. You can check for complaints, see if there are any red flags there.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I guess you could also Google the dealership name, see what comes up.
Exactly. Look for any news articles, legal issues, anything that might raise a concern.
And what about reviews? How can you tell if those are legit?
Pay attention to the dates. If you see a bunch of glowing reviews all appearing around the same time, that could be a sign of manipulation.
Right. And I guess you should also look for specifics. Do the reviews actually talk about the dealership service, or are they just vague compliments?
Yeah, look for details, look for consistency if something feels off. Trust your gut.
Okay, so let's say the website checks out, the reviews seem legit. What's the next step?
Ask for the VIN, the vehicle identification number. It's a unique 17-digit code for every car, and you can use that to do a history check on websites like Carfax or AutoCheck.
Right, those sites are great for seeing if a car's been in any accidents, had major repairs, things like that.
Exactly, and for a big purchase like this, you should always get an independent inspection.
So even if you can't see the car in person yourself, you can hire someone to do it for you.
Absolutely. There are companies that specialize in pre-purchase inspections, and it's worth the investment for the peace of mind.
All right, so we verified the dealer, we've checked the VIN, we've inspected the car. Now comes the scary part, payment.
This is where you got to be extra cautious. Never, ever wire money directly to an individual or a dealership.
Why not? What's so risky about that?
Because once you wire the money, it's gone. It's like sending cash. There's no way to get it back if something goes wrong.
So what are the safer options?
Credit cards offer some protection, but for a high-value purchase like this, an escrow service is the best way to go.
How does that work?
Basically, it's a neutral third party that holds the money until both the buyer and seller have fulfilled their end of the deal.
So you're saying if the buyer in this story had used an escrow service, he wouldn't have lost all his money?
Most likely not. The escrow company would have verified the car actually existed and met all the agreed-upon conditions before releasing the funds.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like having a safety net.
Exactly. It protects both the buyer and the seller.
So much valuable information here. I mean, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of buying a dream car, but these steps can really save you a lot of heartache.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, in this case, it seems like the buyer learned that the hard way.
So what happens now? Does he have any chance of getting his money back?
It's tough. Tracing funds across multiple accounts, especially if they've gone international, is incredibly difficult. The authorities will investigate, but there's no guarantee of recovery.
That's a shame. It's a harsh lesson, but it underscores how important it is to be vigilant, do your research, and protect yourself.
Couldn't agree more.
This whole thing got me thinking, we've talked about the buyer's responsibility, But what about the celebrity who endorsed this dealership? I mean, should they be held accountable in some way?
It's a tricky question. Celebrities have a lot of influence. Their endorsement can really sway people's decisions.
Yeah, so if they're promoting something that turns out to be a scam, is there any responsibility there?
It definitely raises some ethical questions. I mean, how much due diligence should they be doing before lending their name to a product or a company?
It's a good point. Something to think about.
Yeah, it's a complex issue.
Well, this has been a real eye-opener. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
No problem. Happy to help.
And to all our listeners out there, remember, do your research, be cautious, and don't let the excitement of a big purchase cloud your judgment. Stay safe out there.
Absolutely.
And that's it for this deep dive. See you next time.
See ya. MPDIP.